So we are back with today's top 5 wrestling news and rumors. A lot to cover, from Sasha Banks and Naomi walking out, the latest on Roman Reigns' new schedule, and more. Make sure to elbow drop a like on the video, and let's get right into it. And let's talk about this Sasha Banks and Naomi situation. There's obviously a lot of opinions, a lot of speculations, so I'm just gonna update you guys on those latest reports that we have gotten. Sasha Banks and Naomi were scheduled to be part of a 6-pack challenge in the main event of Monday Night Raw. Unfortunately, it looks like it was a bad day at the office. According to reports, Sasha Banks and Naomi legitimately walked out of the show, which led to WWE sending out this official statement claiming that even though it's a scripted show, and of course they had 8 hours to rehearse and construct their match, Sasha Banks and Naomi were quote-unquote uncomfortable in the ring with 2 of their opponents, even though they had matches with those individuals in the past with no consequences. It's actually more shocking that WWE even sent out a statement in regards to this whole situation. Fightful Select then provided an update indicating that the true story is that Sasha Banks and Naomi were not happy about the creative direction for the women's tag team titles. The titles that of course they are currently holding. Sasha Banks and Naomi wanted to defend the women's tag team championships against Nikki Almost a Superhero and Doudrop at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, but that idea was rejected. A later report indicated that instead WWE wanted to do Naomi versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship and Sasha Banks versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. All of that at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. The problem with that is that clearly Naomi and Sasha, both the current champions, were going to have to lose, making it feel like their tag team titles are not important, which seems to have led to the whole issue that whole day and them walking out. The issue stemmed from Sasha Banks and Naomi being unhappy with the direction of WWE's women's tag team division, especially now that they are holding those titles. People close to the situation have not heard of Sasha Banks and Naomi being unhappy working with Becky Lynch and Asuka, and clearly they wanted to work with Nikki and Doudrop because they wanted to defend the title against them, so WWE's statement doesn't add up with the current reports. There's other reports talking about how the match was supposed to play out, again all of which of course Sasha Banks and Naomi, probably especially Sasha Banks, was not happy about it. All of this sounds very familiar with what happened with Sasha Banks and Bayley, and they have indicated in the past, and that is that they do not like the way that WWE treats their tag team division, especially the women's tag team division. It's even hard to point out if it is truly a division, as they are always putting new people together and breaking people off just 3 weeks after they become an official team. That is all the latest as of right now. We don't really know where all of this is leading to. Another recent report does indicate though that apparently WWE doesn't really care for Sasha Banks because of situations like this. This is of course not confirmed, but it's coming from Wrestling Observer Live Brian Alvarez, as he ended up explaining that there has been people who has been given worse creative ideas and things to do than what they were gonna have Sasha Banks and Naomi do. So because of that, many in the backstage in WWE have very little sympathy for Sasha Banks and Naomi after walking out. Of course, take that report with a grain of salt, as there is just a lot of information coming out right now and there's no complete answer. Moving away from that, let's talk some extra quick news. It looks like WWE ended up firing the 4th member of Judgment Day before he got to join the group. According to Ringside News, they indicate that there was another person pitched for the group, but he was fired before they could move forward with those plans, and that was former NXT superstar Harland, which is still a big mystery up to why WWE let him go, as he was getting a massive push and was set to be moved up to the main roster right away. There seems to be an update in regards to Ric Flair coming out of retirement. A report from Fightful says that Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is also expected to come out of retirement to wrestle Ric Flair in a tag team match. match. So right now the rumor matchup is at the Rock and Roll Express with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus FTR and Ric Flair. But that of course could change because Tony Khan hasn't signed off on FTR having this matchup yet. And last but not least, we are talking about the Tribal Chief, as there is some update in regards to his new contract. According to the Wrestling Observer Radio, Roman Reigns is simply getting a reduced schedule, but he's not going to be going part-time similar to John Cena or even Brock Lesnar, because he is expected to be on television basically just as much as before. The difference is that of course WWE is drastically cutting back Roman Reigns' house shows appearances. If he do live event, it's probably going to be massive one like a Madison Square Garden and so on, but don't expect him to do many. So it looks like WWE is thinking ahead. They don't want to lose Roman Reigns for such a long period of time like John Cena and even Brock Lesnar, so he already has a more limited schedule. That is all the latest wrestling news coverage for today. Make sure to drop a like on the video for more. Stay savage, and I'll catch you on the next one.